What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down something with NIO, Tesla SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some information for next week, what you should be watching for on the news for NIO, and how things are looking in my personal opinion. But before I break the devil's information, let me just mention a few things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. You deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends very, very soon in just about 19 days from now. Anyways, when it comes to the way the market's moving, I just wanted to mention that right now, NIO saw a nice breakout above its 200 EMA, breaking past 4.75, and now we're approaching our resistance around the $5 area. If that breaks, we're going to see a continuation higher, so we'll have to be watching to see if that ends up being the case. We have a nice Wyckoff style accumulation right over here that does suggest upside is looking more prevalent, and we could be breaking out into the fives very soon as the 4 hour is turning a lot more bullish. But just for confirmation, we'll have to see if this continues, especially going into next week because of some catalysts. So I'm going to break down some news and data before I break down the charts. As a reminder that for next week, we're going to start off with Monday, July 15th. There's not really much data coming out. We just have like the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions after market open. But we do have Jerome Powell giving a speech, so that's going to be very important. So we'll see what he has to say. Besides that, we also have on Monday Goldman Sachs and BlackRock announcing their earnings. Lots of big bank earnings are coming out for Monday. Going into Tuesday, we have Bank of America and a few others, and then big tech stocks start going into next week. We also have Netflix for this week and TSMC. So we'll see how things go. But the big banks will be announcing earnings on Monday. As far as NIO goes, we got some good ratings from Zacks consensus estimates. They're actually showing some signs that earnings could be better than what many people anticipated, showing changes of about a positive 19.43% and a positive 18.64% in growth. So that's not bad whatsoever. We're seeing some good consensuses coming out from different analysts, at least for earnings that are coming up. And we're getting some very, very interesting looking projections. So that is a little bit more bullish, at least for us. There's also some big news that came out, which is part of why NIO's in the green. NIO has brought enhanced automatic emergency braking systems into their end-to-end technology. That's actually very, very bullish news because this allows for them to not only reduce risks, reduce risks of collisions by learning from human driving experience, but simultaneously, this will help bring in a lot more sales with these capabilities. Really, really cool features. This is going to help them avoid vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians when kind of like crossing and things like that. So very, very cool stuff. They're going to be using this technology to determine the location, direction of travel, and speed of the target in front of them, and then use this to once again reduce risks. That's very, very bullish and great news for them. It's also cool news as NIO is advertising its ESA. It's very, very awesome stuff. You guys can see the luxury and performance capabilities. Very, very cool as we're seeing a lot of growth, especially in Europe. So lots of growth in Europe is perpetuating. Volume is going up, which is the one thing I called out yesterday, which is a good sign for the company. We have 51 million in volume. Hopefully, NIO continues to push on this good volume. Also, Bank of America Securities has a neutral rating for NIO. Price-price ratio is kind of flat. We have a tendency of seeing green only about 49% of the time on Mondays. We tend to be stronger on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we're still going to hope for the best nonetheless. So now let's break down the charts. Looking at NIO, we're attempting to push a little bit higher. I think we could get very close to 5, but then just be very careful at this resistance. So going into the pre-market on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised if NIO goes all the way up towards $5. We'll have to see if you reject or not. So that's going to be very important, very, very key for how things are basically looking. So in my personal opinion, I think that there's a little bit more upside potential. I think $5 could be coming very soon, and we'll have to see how things kind of continue from here. We could push a little higher, but watch 5 as resistance. We'll have to see what kind of reaction we get off of that. So we'll see if we get a rejection initially or not. But nonetheless, regardless of what happens, right? Let's say we go up to 5, whether we get a small rejection and then break out, if we just break out from here, we're still looking bullish in my personal opinion. I think that's still how things are looking. For other factors out there, we have SPY. SPY, in my opinion, is looking more bullish when it comes to the trend, but I do see one concern, and that's for the short term. Despite that, we have kind of like a double top like structure. We failed to hold up at the very, very last few minutes of the day. The market sold off, so now it looks like we have a double top. So if we were to fail to kind of like hold above 560, since we did close below that, there is a risk of us coming back down to actually touch this 20 EMA at 557. So this is looking like it's going to dip now. So the market's just all over the place. We pumped higher, dumped, pumped, dumped. It's crazy, 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 crazy last 3 days. But now because we have a double top and because at the end of the day we got this little sell-off, this looks to me like we might actually dip down a little bit more to fill this imbalance. It's kind of looking like that because they use that to grab liquidity for more manipulation. So this could be a trap for next week where we might see a little bit of a downside. For Nvda, we're actually holding up decently. We ended up closing below 130. If we had closed above that, that would have been better. Now we closed below this. So I think we're going to consolidate a bit between 128 and 130 for some time before we see the next move. I'll be watching for that. On ES, look at how ES moved. We pushed very, very nicely. In the last minute, they dumped it. So this is going to test this 20 EMA, in my opinion. We're going to see a little bit of a drop to about 56.50 very, very soon. Bitcoin failed to hold 58,000, so now we're coming back down. So it's very, very tricky how this is moving. Watch 57,500 key supports. We'll have to see how that kind of reacts. For the QQQ, we have resistance around 495. If this rejects, we're going to be coming back down to 490. And if we hold above this, we could be pushing higher. So watch 495 is key resistance and 490 is support. We'll have to see how we end up reacting. As of right now, the QQQ could be could be forming kind of like a distribution-like structure. We have a high here. This could be a lower high relative to this high, which could lead to more downside. We'll see if we get a rejection. Make sure you watch 490 as key support. This is very, very tricky, guys, the way the market's been moving. So just be careful with this rejection. Apple's also starting to reject off 232. Now it might come down to 228 before it tries to bounce again. So just be very careful. There's a lot of manipulation. The market pumped only to dump back down. Supermicro is kind of flat right now. Make sure you watch resistance around this 920 area. We have support at 889. We'll see what kind of reaction we get. For the IWM, we pushed very nicely to about 214, then failed to hold above that. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually retest 212.5 and maybe we bounce after that, but I'm still seeing a risk of that. Amazon failed to basically hold up above this 50 EMA. So now it's showing a weakness again. So that leads to a risk of it's dipping towards 193. Meta just barely closed near its 200 EMA. It's looking very weak. If this fails, we're coming all the way down to the lower 490s. Looks more bearish to me. Microsoft, we got a big rug pull at the end of the day. So this looks like it might be dipping down towards 450 all over again. Looks more bearish to me. Google is also looking more bearish. Could be looking for 185. And then we have this imbalance at 184.8. We're going to likely test that as well. So the market's gone berserk, guys. GME closed above 26. We'll see if it holds. In my opinion, after kind of pumped and dumped, if it fails to hold 26 on Monday, we're going to be retracing back down to 25.25. So we'll see how that reacts. AMC is just consolidating, so we'll have to give that some time. So the market is very tricky. We pumped one day, dumped, back and forth. Absolutely wild. However, what is good is on the 4-hour NIO is looking a little bit more bullish. It is once again outperforming the market, at least today. So there's a chance that NIO could try to go up towards $5. It looks more bullish, technically speaking, but we'll have to see what the reaction is from there moving forward. With that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. As far as NIO goes, there's a lot of potential, at least for this. So we'll see how things end up progress from here on out. With that being said, I'll be giving you guys another video on Sunday. I'm going to be taking a break tomorrow, so I'll see you guys very soon. With that being said, have a great day and peace out.